Here's a terrifying true story about spiders that will leave you checking every corner of your home. In 2014, a family in Missouri purchased a beautiful, spacious house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The home seemed perfect for them. Big windows, a large yard, and plenty of space for their kids. But within a few weeks of moving in, they began noticing something odd: spiders. At first, it was just a few here and there, small, brown ones in the corners of the ceiling or crawling along the baseboards. Thinking it was just an ordinary pest problem, they called in an exterminator. The exterminator sprayed the house, assuring them it would take care of any lingering spiders. But instead of solving the problem, it seemed to make it worse. Within days, spiders began appearing everywhere, in the bathroom, the kitchen, and even in their beds. Every time they killed one, it felt like 3 more appeared. The situation spiraled out of control when the father went to the basement and discovered hundreds of spiderlings hatching from an egg sac in the ceiling. Terrified, the family contacted pest control experts, who identified the spiders as Loxosceles reclusa, commonly known as brown recluse spiders. These spiders are infamous for their venomous bites, which can cause severe necrosis of the skin. The experts warned the family that a single brown recluse sighting is cause for alarm, but this house wasn't dealing with a few spiders. It was infested. The family moved into a hotel while professionals tried to rid the house of its 8-legged tenants. They fumigated, set traps, and sealed cracks in the walls, but the spiders kept coming back. It turned out that the infestation was so severe that the spiders had taken over the walls, attic, and crawl spaces. The family even found spiders hidden in their shoes and clothing. The final straw came when the mother was bitten in her sleep. She woke up to a burning pain on her arm and a dead brown recluse nearby. Within hours, the bite site swelled and turned black, and she had to be rushed to the hospital. The doctors managed to treat her in time, but the psychological damage was done. The family decided to abandon the house entirely. A subsequent investigation revealed the horrifying truth. The house had been infested for years, with the previous owners attempting to conceal the issue. Worse still, the spiders had created a vast network of webs and egg sacs throughout the home, hiding in cracks, vents, and even behind the wallpaper. It was later discovered that the infestation was nearly impossible to eliminate because the spiders had spread through the foundation and walls of the house. The property was eventually condemned. Even years later, the family can't step into a dark room without feeling like something is crawling on them. To this day, the house stands empty, a silent tomb filled with hidden nightmares, reminding everyone who hears the story that sometimes the monsters we fear aren't imaginary. They're right there in the walls, watching and waiting. Here's a haunting story involving man's best friend. In 2017, a young woman named Rachel moved into a quiet rural home with her dog, Max. Max was a loyal German Shepherd who had been with Rachel since he was a puppy. He was her protector, always by her side, and she never felt afraid living alone because of him. But soon after moving in, Max started acting strangely. It began with him growling at nothing. Late at night, Rachel would hear him pacing near the front door, his low growls filling the dark silence. Sometimes he would bark furiously at the window, as though he saw something or someone outside. When Rachel looked, she saw only darkness. She brushed it off as Max adjusting to the new surroundings. But Max's behavior grew more unsettling. One night, Rachel woke up to find Max standing rigid in the hallway, staring at her bedroom door. His ears were perked, his body tense, and his teeth bared. She tried to calm him, but he refused to move, growling deep and low at the empty hallway. It was then Rachel noticed a faint scratching sound coming from somewhere in the house. Over the next few weeks, Rachel began hearing more strange noises, faint footsteps on the wooden floor at night, the sound of something dragging across the walls, and once, the unmistakable sound of a door creaking open. But no doors had moved when she checked. Each time, Max would bark furiously, running to the source of the sound, only to find nothing there. One night, things took a terrifying turn. Rachel was sitting on the couch when Max suddenly bolted to the basement door, barking wildly. The door was ajar, a detail that chilled her because she was certain she'd closed it earlier. Max stood at the top of the stairs, barking into the darkness below, his hackles raised. Rachel grabbed a flashlight and cautiously descended the stairs, Max by her side. The basement was cold and damp, and the air felt thick, like it was pressing down on her. As she swept the flashlight beam across the room, she saw it. A dark figure crouching in the far corner. Her blood ran cold. Before she could move, Max lunged, growling ferociously, his body slamming into the figure. Rachel scrambled back upstairs, slamming the basement door shut and locking it. She called the police, her hands shaking. When they arrived, they found no sign of an intruder, but Max had deep scratches along his side, as if he had fought with something, or someone. Rachel moved out of the house soon after, but Max was never the same. He grew withdrawn and skittish, often staring into empty corners of their new home. Rachel later learned that the previous tenant of the house had disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and neighbors had reported strange sightings around the property ever since. To this day, Rachel believes Max saved her life that night. But she also believes that whatever was in that basement wasn't entirely human, and it might still be there, waiting for the next unsuspecting tenant.